Hi and welcome to BETV from Buttercross Estates. I'm Daniel and this is Abby.
Hiya.
And this week we'll be covering a property, showcasing our property of the week and also discussing a topic about referencing. Exciting. Looking at the market this week then, our property of the week, what's happened in the market? How many new ones have we had?
Yeah, I mean, there were quite a lot. When you look at what's actually on Rightmove in the last 7 days, it's 25 properties. But by the time you dwindle out the reduced ones, and there was like 3 actual brand new properties, we're down to 17. But that's still a lot in comparison to normal. That's a lot. But yeah, after having a look through, there were some that just a little bit too much. Some would require too much to make a half decent yield for a landlord. So yeah, I've gone with a property on Parliament Street.
Okay.
Number 4, it's on with Hammond Property Services in Bingham. It's tenanted, which is obviously great, as long as it's a good tenant, of course. So that's worth checking out information on. But yeah, they're saying at the moment they're getting 525 for it, which is about right. 2-bedroom, mid-terrace. It's got a little garden. It looks like it's got a shared like pathway at the back, but very similar to one that we've actually got on the market at the moment on King Street. Really, really similar. Both have been done to a nice standard inside. We've got ours on at 550. It's only just gone on, so we'll see how we get on. But so far, we're getting plenty of interest on it. But we've got a few around there, to be fair, haven't we? We don't seem to ever struggle to let them. So
it's always quite popular. It's in a nice location, walking distance to town, in the kind of older part of Newark, so it's got a lot of character, hasn't it, around there? So.
Yeah, definitely. And then of course it's not permit parking either, so I guess that helps with that flexibility too. And they're not, I would say anyway, they're not too expensive. They're not that nice in between. They're not going to break the bank, but they're not also on a really cheap scale.
Talking of which, how much is it on for?
It is on for 120. I probably should have told you that bit.
Okay.
It's on for 120. So yeah, when you work it out, you're looking at about 5.7% yield. So it's a good return too. Yeah. And like I say, it's been done up inside as well. So yeah, it seems like quite a good one actually, I have to say. Okay,
excellent, good. And you mentioned it was tenanted.
Yeah.
Which is great. You know,
yeah, no void period, even better.
No
so
void, so rent from day one, which is good. Should people be a bit more cautious about buying a property that's tenanted?
Depends if you've got a good tenant in it or not, that's the thing. And I suppose it depends how, not that I'm suggesting anybody isn't, but it depends how honest, I guess, whoever you're buying it from are going to be. Because there's no, I'm sure you can ask the information as to whether the tenants have been paying on time, and whether they're going to give you the kind of information on maintenance side of things or not. Yeah. But if the tenant has been paying and has been good, you'll get a good idea when you go and view it. You know, if it's in a good condition, then you're off to a good start at least. Yeah. And if you can get that kind of information, whether they've been paying the rent on time or not, they're the main things really to be worrying about. Yeah.
So I think when buying a property that's tenanted, the solicitor will have a lot of that information, or should be able to find out a lot of that information. Yeah. But it's certainly worth looking into, as you said.
Definitely.
It saves finding a new one and having a property empty when you first buy it. But just make sure everything is okay with the current tenant.
Yeah.
And that their plans are looking long term as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because if it's not a good tenant, which you want to hope it is, but it's not, it's going to be more hassle and it's worth trying to get them out. So even best case scenario, you're looking at least a couple of months, best case scenario, and then you've got to get your new tenant. So you've got that void period. So yeah, good tenant, it's worth doing. Yeah, definitely.
Leading on from that then, it is important to get a good tenant. So our topic this week, we're going to cover referencing.
So referencing is your prime opportunity. That's when you're going to be vetting your tenants. So this is the time when you want to make sure you're checking everything you need to know, really, because it's worth it in the long run.
With referencing, what's included? What do we look for?
Yeah, so with referencing, we do credit check, we do check your photo ID, we check 3 months bank statements for affordability checks, we do landlord check, we do income check, and then we check for proof of address and just where the applicant has lived for the last 3 years. Okay,
perfect, that's great. Why is referencing so important?
Well, main thing is it's going to give you a full background on your tenants. So obviously you can't check absolutely everything, but it gives you a good idea. And if you're wanting to do guaranteed rent insurance, then quite often you have to have passed referencing, or so the tenant has to pass referencing, in order to get it. Now, whether that's through the system we use or we often get landlords that still need that anyway.
Yeah, okay, great. Pets, can we reference pets?
Theoretically, yes, you can reference pets. Yeah, so as you know, so we go out to properties. It's not always feasible if they're a long way away, but certainly where we can, we'll go out and visit a property where the pets are staying at the time, because if the property is being well kept, as the potential tenant is telling us, then it should be perfectly fine. We go out and have a look.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's always easy to do. We've covered it on videos before. Yeah. Just talking about pets and how we deal with that, and it's a great insight just to see how well they're looking after the property. So,
and to be fair, usually we've not had it yet, I suppose, where we've done a pet check where they haven't been good, but I have definitely had conversations with people in the past when I've said, oh, okay, we'll come out and do a pet check, and then they won't let us, and that tells me everything.
Weeds it out then. Yeah.
It does. Solves the problem quite quickly.
Yeah, perfect. Great. Say, for instance, a tenant has really bad credit. We were talking, CCJs of up to £10,000.
Yes.
Could we still let to them? What are the kind of implications on that?
Theoretically, you can let to anybody. It is down to the landlord's discretion at the end of the day. Now, say you did want guaranteed rent, there is a possibility you would struggle to get that, because there's a good chance the tenant will fail the credit check side of things. Yeah. But there are ways around it. So if you have a guarantor, usually it does need to be a homeowner and someone that can afford the rent. So that's like 2.5 times. So if they pass quite often, then it would mean the applicant as a whole passes. But it is down to landlord discretion. Sometimes we'll have, say, a retired guarantor. So their income might not look like very much, but they may have quite a substantial amount of savings. Yep. So you can work with it.
There are ways around it. It's not the end of the world. And there are other alternatives that people can protect themselves and
definitely.
Just in case. So and for tenants as well who've had blips in the past.
Life happens, doesn't it?
Yeah,
we can still help.
So. Yeah. Sometimes tenants will try and avoid referencing by going to landlords privately. You see a lot of posts on social media of people looking for landlords privately.
Yes.
And that's quite often when they're looking to avoid referencing. So a lot of tenants will a lot of landlords, I should say, won't carry out the referencing checks that agents would do.
Yeah.
And tenants know that, and you might find that people try and avoid things. But as we've said, the things that do pop up, there are ways around them. But
there are, and I think sometimes it's just the stigma, isn't it? And I think it all depends on the agent and what sort of experience people have had previously, which does make it hard. And you might find that tenant that you don't reference may well be no bother at all, but don't be too surprised when you haven't referenced them and suddenly they don't pay, or they start causing you problems. You can't be too surprised when that happens, because you didn't do the referencing.
No. So I think it's important to use your judgment whenever you meet someone. Yeah. But that is a part of the referencing process, and doing the checks. Just cover your back and make sure there are no hidden surprises end of the day.
Yeah, definitely, because sometimes we will actually get landlords that, when they do get a couple of choices, they will sometimes actually just go off a gut feeling, and obviously that's quite hard to tell a tenant or prospective tenant when they haven't got it, that off a gut feeling, but sometimes, you just have to go with it sometimes.
We've talked about bank statements, you mentioned it earlier on. Another reason why we collect statements is actually to show the financial history and how they're dealing with the money. And we've had some people before who've passed referencing completely. Look great on paper, but on the bank statements we've seen that they've got quite heavy gambling issues.
Yeah, we've had a few of those.
And obviously that would lead to potential problems in the future. So they might pass referencing. They could even pass for
you could pass everything.
Guarantee purposes. But actually, we want to try and make sure that there's no issues going further down the line. So bank statements are a great way of doing that.
They're worth their weight in gold. And I think sometimes people don't understand, you've got my pay slips or you've got my employment reference, but actually not that we're checking to catch anybody out. It's just somebody's salary and someone's outgoings are two different things, and without the bank statements you don't get a true reflection. And we're not being unfair when we ask for them. We don't want to put anyone in a sticky situation when we put them in something they can't afford it, and then bless them, they get themselves in such a stress and they have to go. It's not good for any party. So we do it because for a nice reason. It's not just to try and catch somebody out.
Thanks for tuning in this week. Just a reminder, we have got our landlord seminar on the 3rd of March. You can register on our website for that. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.